a strong reaction from Rangers fans as well. This one from Greg Robbie. The most cringeworthy thing I've ever seen from my team. A total embarrassment and absolutely toe-curling. Drew McMaster, cringeworthy. We're one of Scotland's biggest clubs and we're celebrating a small win against St Johnstone. Save it from when we actually win a trophy. Eddie Craig, is this a wind-up? Celebrating a win against St Johnstone. And Rob Jones, what's the celebration? Acting like a trophy. And this is actually, this one from Paul Oliver, Gav, kind of chimes in with what you were saying. Recognise the fans, yes. Yeah. They should have just went over and clapped, but to celebrate and do the bounty was ridiculous.
Exactly. That I think that is the point. I mean, don't get me wrong, I have seen some comments out there, maybe not coming into us, but just on social media and things. I have seen a lot of people sort of, defending it and saying, that they were within their rights and why not. So, but maybe that's what the majority are saying in there, are writing into us. And that's the thing. I mean, were the players, if it was pre-planned and they're saying we're going to acknowledge the fans and sort of celebrate with the fans, that's why I'm saying it's the optics. Are they celebrating the fact that they beat St Johnstone 2-0? No, probably not. They're going over to, sort of try and connect with the fans, but that's the way it looks to everyone watching, and people who are writing into us. It looks like, Rangers are celebrating the fact they've beaten St Johnstone 2-0. I think they're just trying to create, because I noticed some, those who were defending it, some were saying, well, Borussia Dortmund do it every week. I think, is it Borussia Dortmund maybe have a tradition where they go over and, although I'm not sure the stands at, I'm not sure the half-empty Hampden was quite the yellow wall, but you know what I mean.
Well, Greg Stevens is actually written in Facebook saying the Union Bears were outstanding, kept the great atmosphere going all game, and sad to see a small crowd. Players were acknowledging the Union Bears' effort and having a laugh. And I'll finish on Rangers with this one, Gav. It comes from Bob Thompson. He says, Philippe Clement might be forced out unless he can improve on things. It's early yet, but things are not looking good. Needs a couple of good wins under his belt and stop these nervy wins, to be honest. Is that how you see it as well?
Yeah, actually, I think he's hitting the nail right on the head. That's what I was going to say. And I think we touched on it when we were doing the Hotline Live last week with Keith and Scott. They need a big performance, like they need that. Every week they're kind of going into games and it's like they need, for the fans to start believing they've got to go out and hammer somebody 5-0 or 6-0 and play flowing football and everybody has a 9 out of 10 game. But the reality is that, that's unlikely to happen. Craig Levein, we know what he's like, St Johnstone, he's going to play on that, the nervousness, and he's going to make it difficult for him. I have to say that although they didn't get that swashbuckling performance, I think there were bright parts in the game, and Philippe Clement said there they could have won 5-0 or 5-1, and I think that's probably true. They had plenty of chances. Danilo had a couple, so they could have got that morale boosting scoreline, but of course they could have went the other way. St Johnstone hit the post, and that's the problem. There's always that week and it's a lack of a clinical edge for Rangers there, and always that wee bit of vulnerability that you just feel, you just sense every game that, and it's a wee bit like last season, under Michael Beale. I think there was a similar situation. They had games where they just were getting through. Even that Morton game that I referred to earlier at the same stage of this competition last season, they weren't exactly convincing. Yeah. They had a game against Motherwell at home in the league where they just squeezed by. Actually, I think they beat Betis at home, didn't they? That was the one when you thought, right, that's going to ignite everything. And then they played Motherwell and they toiled. Every game's a struggle. I don't think it was quite as bad as that on Saturday night, but I understand that fans are looking for a bit more dominance in their games. But there were positive aspects of the performance. Hefty looks like he could do a job, obviously filling in at left back. He looks like he could be a decent signing. I thought as much as Rabbi Matondo gets, criticised, he's much maligned, I thought actually he was okay. So they were, I thought they were decent. They were decent, and it was a comfortable enough win. But there's a long, long way to go. You can just think a big fall could still be coming. It was like the Motherwell game in the opening league match where the 2-1, and then Butland has to make the save. They've got Ross County next week. is that going to be another struggle? And then the big one at Celtic Park the following week, is that the day, if they lose heavily, then there's real problems.